Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bitter Rivals podcast. This is episode, what are we on now?
52.
52. Yeah, it is 52. And yeah, once again, a lot happened this week. Obviously, there was the Leafs Habs game last night, so that's a big one. The trade deadline happened on Monday, so there were some trades that took place on Monday and late in the day Sunday after we recorded that we have to talk about. The Leafs had their next gen game. They wore their fourth jersey of the month, which was kind of interesting. In other news, I have COVID.
Hey.
So
you're on COVID protocol.
Yeah, so I've been, after taking 2 weeks off of work just for vacation, now I've been off longer. And honestly, I don't know what to do with myself anymore. I'm kind of bored. But anyway, enough about me. Let's get to I guess we'll start out with the game last night, which I think we can both agree was absolutely dominated from start. There was a 5-minute period in the second period when the Habs were playing well. They scored a goal in that time, but other than that, that was totally dominated by the Leafs. That was actually the most that the Habs have ever been outshot by at home in their very, very long history.
Are you sure that was long history or just Bell Center history?
Maybe just Bell Center history.
I think it was just Bell Center history, but still.
So the game was dominated from almost start to finish by the Toronto Maple Leafs, but Jake Allen stood on his head. The refs were absolutely incompetent.
Oh, they absolutely were. And I just want to go to the Jake Allen thing quick because he's had a great week this week. It's amazing how much better we are when we have actual real goaltending.
I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I am totally convinced that the Toronto Maple Leafs literally lost a series to 23 pylons in Carey Price last year. That's what happened. That is what happened.
But you can't make those.
Exactly what happened.
Dude, there's 6 guys on our roster that played in that series. They're 2 entirely different teams. I understand your sentiment, but it's just.
No, that's what happened.
No.
That is what happened.
Anyways. Cole Caulfield can shoot the puck.
Yeah, so can Austin Matthews and way better, but yeah. Yeah, he can.
I mean, they both had pretty
He's in the NHL, goals. He should be able to shoot the puck.
They both had pretty nasty goals last night.
Yeah, they did. I'm upset with the way that game ended because that should have been Matthews' 9th drawn penalty of the year, which ranks 355th in the National Hockey League.
Literally, as it happens, the play starts going down the ice. I'm like, we're going to score from this, and Abe's going to lose his shit.
That was how is that not tripping? In what world is that not tripping?
That's the thing, Abe's, I don't know. To be fair, the refs basically threw their whistles away most of the night. Okay, there was a lot not called both ways.
Well, the one that I can think of is Blackwell probably should have taken an interference call in the first period, but I don't know what else you're talking about from a Leafs perspective.
I was just
because I can give you 3 or 4 incidents of things that happened last night that should have been called that just simply weren't. Bunting got cross-checked in the face at the blue line on an offside. I don't remember exactly when it was at an offside play in the second period. He gets cross-checked in the face, no call. Austin Matthews gets tripped, and you guys can go and score the game winner with 2 minutes left in the game. No call. It's outrageous. It's absolutely crazy. It
was a poor game from the refs all around.
It was horrible. In an effort to not affect the game, they directly affected the outcome of that game. In a game where the Toronto Maple Leafs dominated, they lose because of a decision that a ref made, a conscious decision that a ref made.
Yeah.
And
that's it's bullshit. Twice this month already with the Leafs. The Arizona game a little earlier in the month.
Yeah, I understand that those are literally the 2 worst teams in the National Hockey League, and we should beat them anyway. But there's got to be some accountability from the refs at that point. Yeah. I do understand that side of things. These aren't good teams. We need the points. You got to find a way to win. That's just how it is, right? But
when Austin Matthews gets hauled down in overtime and gets tripped with 2 minutes left for Paul Byron to go on a break, I get it.
That's outrageous. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I get it. We're in a playoff position, and it would be very, very hard for us to fall out of one at this point. We'd have to be Montreal bad to fall out of one, Montreal beginning of the season bad to fall out of a playoff point. position at this point. Excuse me, sorry.
There's the COVID.
Yeah, there it is. But yeah, no, I don't understand how that happens. Like
well, I mean, it's the refs. That's how that happens.
They're useless, like absolutely useless. How do you not call that? I just
want to go to there was an Edmonton game earlier in the week where someone got cross-checked in the face, and the NHL Department of Player Safety didn't even have a look at it. Nothing.
No, but Austin Matthews gets suspended for his cross-check.
Exactly. And this goes back to my point from that, where the Matthews suspension is fair if that's the standard set across the league.
Yeah.
But it's clearly not. Like, it's just...
I don't understand why they operate that way. Like, because like it doesn't do any good for the game. Like, it doesn't. No,
it's because George Peros got dropped on his head far too many times as an NHL player.
Yeah.
And now he's running the Department of Player Safety.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, you do got to give it to Montreal, though. They did battle last night, I guess, even though they were totally dominated. But Jake Allen had a game. Jake Allen played good. That save he made on Mitch Marner was outrageous. Was absolutely outrageous.
That, to me, is like his equal to Carey Price on Ovechkin in the Bell Center.
Like, that was crazy. That was even Mitch Marner was like shook. He was absolutely shook.
Like, Jake Allen's a really, really fucking good goalie. And I'm kind of surprised that no teams like made offers or even like poked around him around the trade deadline. Like, I'm genuinely surprised like an Edmonton didn't come in with an offer. You know, even Toronto. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't think that it would have been cheap.
No, but I mean, you know what I mean?
What's his deal?
He's only on, I want to say maybe 3 something.
For how long, I mean?
You can't have much longer left on it. Just give me 1 second here. Where the fuck's his contract? I'm not on Cap Friendly, that's why.
Oh, that's okay. Here I am. So Jake Allen's contract is another...
I feel like it's
until the end of 23 for $2.875. So that's actually a pretty good deal, but because of the, first of all, term, and second of all, low cap hit, I think that would have been an expensive one.
Oh, yeah, so for sure.
Like, yeah, I don't think, and that wasn't even talked about at the deadline, eh?
No, but like, I mean, this week, so we played the Bruins, Panthers, and the Leafs, and he played phenomenally through all 3 games. Like, it's one of those ones where you're surprised that someone didn't at least, you know...
Well, injured at the time. Yeah, injured at the time, I guess, is part of it. Probably a lot of it. Yeah. Probably another thing that has something to do with it is like I said, that's a law. It
would have been an expensive deal.
Yeah, it would have been an expensive deal, and it's hard to justify paying that for a guy who's hurt. And you don't, like, goalies, you never really know what happens when they come back. They can either come back fresh or they can come back and be brutal, right? Like, and if you're gonna, like, you don't want to overpay for a guy who might come back and just be another Mrazek. Like, Mrazek's had good track record as well, right? He's had a really great career in the NHL, believe it or not, until his stretch of games this year. But I don't know if teams were going to be willing to pay that for a guy, especially with term.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. You're just not sure. Like, I think Jake Allen's the kind of guy that you would probably want on a shorter... Like, I know it's only 2 years, but you probably only want him until the end of the season, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, because you just don't know. Anyway. Moving on. We can... we'll talk about the next-gen game. That was an interesting one.
Still not a fan of those jerseys.
Jerseys are sick, man. The black and blue is absolutely wild. Like, what makes you not a fan of them?
Like, the black and blue is not terrible, but it's just, I don't know. I didn't like them.
Why? Like,
I don't know.
Give me a reason.
I don't know.
Give me a reason.
I don't have a reason for it, Abe. Like, when you guys put the fucking pictures of the jerseys in the group chat, I looked at them and I'm like, I just don't like them. And I was like, maybe it'll be a thing because I know that happens a lot where once the players wear them, when you see them in the uniform, it like looks a little better. But it still didn't do it for me.
Yeah,
The
no,
St. Pat's jerseys though, I do love those. Those are great.
I don't know how you could not like these. I'm looking at them right now. They're fantastic. The reversible idea is fantastic. The city skyline on the armbar.
Like the concept was great. Love the concept of the reversible with there was a Justin Bieber collaboration, right?
Yeah, Drew House, baby.
Yeah, like concept great, execution not so much.
No, the execution was fantastic. I don't see an issue with it at all. There's no issue here. The skyline in the shoulders, or in the armbar is fantastic. The white letter, like the numbers in white outline, fantastic. You could see them perfectly on the jerseys. I loved it. I like the black and blue look. I think it's great. The oversized leaf is cool too. I like that. The different design in the back. I don't see a problem with them. I saw a lot of hate for them, but I love them. I don't know. Didn't buy one.
Here's the thing. I don't hate them. I just didn't like them. Like there's been far worse jerseys in the league this year. Nashville's fucking Winter Classic jerseys, awful. Yeah, like to me that's just like a meh.
No, man, those are great jerseys. You're just a hater. You're not a Leafs fan, so you don't like them. I think they're fantastic.
No, I've
concept, that's beautiful. That's something that's a jersey that's going to get sold to a bunch of people who wouldn't have bought a hockey jersey. You know what I mean?
And like I said, concept great, execution meh. And I've liked Leaf jerseys before. Like I said, St. Pat's ones are great. Your outdoor ones from a couple years ago were phenomenal.
Yeah. The outdoor ones from this year were all right, but if I'm going to choose between that and the next gen game jerseys, I would have taken the next gen jerseys. I think they're awesome.
Yeah, I would definitely take the next gen one over the arenas one for sure.
I like the next gen, and I love the black helmets and the blood. I think they were like a really, really dark navy. Really, really nice. I thought they put. I think you're right about maybe the jersey as a standalone, as just to wear
Yeah.
But when you put it with the uniform that they wore with it, like the pants and the helmet and the gloves, I think it was awesome. I loved it. I loved it.
I know I didn't watch the game, so I only saw a couple pictures, so maybe that's why, but nah.
Anyway, moving on. The Leafs did win that hockey game. I forget the score, though, to be honest with you, and I will
Who
find
was that
it.
against?
It was a game against the Devils, and we won 3-2. That's what it was. 3-2 win with goals from Marner, who just scores every next-gen game. He's got, I think there's been, 4 of them. He's got, 15 points. I'm exaggerating, but it's crazy.
Yeah.
He just goes nuts in next-gen games. Ilya Mikheyev with a beauty, and who had the third one? Was it Pierre Engvall? It was Pierre Engvall. Game winner in the third period, yes. It was. And Pierre Engvall with an absolute beautiful rush 2-on-1 looked off the goalie and sniped, let the defender go sliding into the boards like a psychopath, and bang, bang. Beautiful. That was the last one that I can talk about, though. And that was, again, because of the referees. Anyway. So do you want to get into some Habs stuff? Do you got any more Habs stuff to talk about, or do you want to just go straight to trade deadline stuff here?
Well, I got one Hab thing that'll lead us nicely into that. So Jordan Harris, who was our third round pick in 2018, his NCAA season at Northeastern ended yesterday. He signed his ELC. He's expected to play at some point in this season. Oh, and as well, Carey Price is expected to be on the Habs' next road trip. Don't know if he'll play, but he'll be at least traveling with the team for the first time this year. So.
Yeah, and actually your mention of Jordan Harris there reminded me that the Leafs have signed Nick Abruzzese to a 2-year entry-level contract and are expected to sign Matthew Nyes to an entry-level contract once his college season is over. And there's some talk that he might actually slot into the lineup right away, which would be very, very interesting to see where they would put him.
Yeah, so we did have a chat about him last week being a Cole Caulfield-esque impact. Yes,
and actually, do you know what? I need to circle back here, just back to Leafs conversation.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm interested in about
is it the second line?
is the second line. Yeah. Like, how is that going to slot out? Because Sheldon Keefe is not happy with William Nylander right now. Like, really, really mad at William Nylander. Yeah, it's
like,
he has
okay, like, is he actually playing that bad, or is this just?
no, he's putting points up. Like, he's putting up points, but he is absolutely miserable in the defensive zone. He's doing the stuff that makes people not like him. Like the shying away from checks, the not going 100%, almost floating everywhere. Just floating and not really putting in that, like the goal that Savard scored last night, that was William Nylander's guy. Like that's his only job on that play.
Also,
his only job on that.
Can we talk about that fucking pass from Laurent Dauphin though? That was fucking disgusting.
Yeah, no, he shouldn't have had an opportunity to make that pass.
No.
Like William Nylander, that is William Nylander's guy. He has to be glued to him like a fucking pig on shit. Like that's how it has to be. Like, and he's been lacking in that department lately. Interesting stat. He's on and obviously we know we've talked about how plus minus isn't a great indicator of a player's success, but he's on pace for the most points he's ever scored in the season, but also his lowest plus minus of all time in a regular season. So
and that when we talk about plus minus not being a good thing, like that's some context for plus minus where you go, like that's not great.
Yeah, he's not playing like the beginning of the year. He was leading the league in pucks stripped from guys, takeaways. He was leading in all those departments. He was going into corners with shoulders, ready to take a hit, and that's just not happening anymore. He's not on pucks like he was. Even his patented rush down the side and then he buttons up and like stops, turns up the sidewall and makes a pass. It's actually usually from the right side. I haven't seen that in games. Like, I don't even remember the last time I saw William do that. He used to do that 3-4 times a game at the beginning of the year. Like, that was his thing, and he'd find JT and JT would score a goal. Like, that's, they haven't at 5-on-5, they've been absolutely miserable. Like, the rest of the Leafs are heavily outscoring, their opposition, like the other three lines. But when those two are on the ice together, they're getting the shit kicked out of them every game.
Okay, so can I just, and this is as like an outsider, because I know Tavares struggled, we'll call it like what, last month, where he went like 10, 11, 12 games without a goal, wasn't playing well. Why was that reaction not the same to what Nylander is doing right now? Like, John Tavares played awful for a month, and it feels like it was just like, oh, like it's John Tavares,
because John Tavares doesn't have a history of doing that, so you expect him to come out of it and not be like that for the rest of the year. Like that's the thing, is when William Nylander is playing like that, it reminds everybody of why they didn't like him in the past and why people were upset with the deal that he signed and things like that. And they go, no, you can't play like this. You can't play like this. And I'm scared you're going to continue to play like this. With John Tavares, there's a sense, just because of the work ethic that he puts in and the fact that he's your captain and the fact that he's John Tavares, he's going to come out of it and he's going to play better. And even towards the ending slump, like the end of that slump that he had, he was playing better. He was playing better defensively. He was on pucks. He was winning puck battles. He was, doing all those things that make a guy, like, he looked interested in the game. William Nylander looks disinterested right now. And that's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's where everybody wanted Nyes to slot in and hopefully make a difference with those two. But I would be concerned if I'm William Nylander that if I'm not sitting for a couple games, I'm going to be playing a much lesser role.
And now, I feel like we've had this conversation for the last 3 years, but is there a scenario where Nylander gets traded out of Toronto?
No, and the reason that you're not going to make that trade is because what is going to happen, because there's been points this year is where we've said that's one of the best value contracts in the NHL, the way this guy's playing, right? Like, we've said that if he can play like this, that's one of the best value contracts in the NHL, right?
Yep, no, 100%.
even last year in the series against the Habs, who was our
He was
best
your
player.
best. He was your best player, and it wasn't even close.
Exactly. So I don't think it's smart to move a guy who has that potential on that deal, if that makes sense.
I get that, but is there also, like, the way I look at it is, you know, are you comfortable with having that guy in your lineup when he maybe, you know, isn't playing at that potential? And it seems like it kind of happens at important points in the season that he decides to ghost. Like, is that something you can keep around your team, or do you maybe trade him and try and bring someone who's going to be a little more consistent, a little more reliable? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean, but I disagree that it's at the most important points of the season. Like I said, the most important point of our season last year was the series against the Habs, and he was our best player, right? And maybe part of what's making Willie slow down right now is the absolute tear that the top line is on. He's a guy who feeds off of confidence, right? And his ability, and when he gets down, he gets down. And when he sees other like his teammates just being so successful in the Bunting, Marner, Matthews line, and maybe it's taken a toll on him. I'm not sure, but
so again, I go back to that. Like, is that a guy that you want on your team? A guy who's going to see another line being successful and like shut down? You know what I mean?
See, but like that's the thing is, even though that's the scenario maybe at this point, I personally, I don't know if everybody else does, I have faith that William Nylander, when the time comes, will be the William Nylander that we need him to be. And that's because, like I said, when we need William Nylander to be William Nylander, he's always been that. And that's every playoff series that he's ever been in, actually. If you go look at William Nylander's playoff stats, they're fantastic. So no, I don't trade William Nylander.
So what, you know, you're Kyle Dubas, what do you do to, you know, I don't want to call it fix it, but like to remedy the situation?
You tell Sheldon Keefe that Willie needs a couple games off.
And you think that fixes it? Sitting him for a couple games fixes it?
I think it wakes him the fuck up, yeah. If anybody knows how to get William Nylander going, it's Sheldon Keefe, by the way. He's done it several times.
I'm not doubting that at all. I guess, you know, I feel like taking that feels really like Ducharme with Cole Caulfield is, yeah, like a guy's low on confidence. Yeah, we're going to fucking stick him on the fourth line because that's definitely going to help, right?
Well, what are you going to reward him for his poor defensive play by giving him the most minutes on the team and sticking him on the Matthews line? And then you're also breaking up Matthews, Marner, Bunting? Because that's the only other direction to go. He can't go up. He's got to go down or sit.
Yeah, no, I get, yeah. See, and then this is where I kind of go back to trading. I was like, you know, if you have a guy like this on your team, like, it's a difficult situation to be in, right?
Oh, definitely. But like I said, I personally have faith that when the time comes, he will be there.
All right.
So that's where I am on that. But anyway.
So now you want to get into the trade deadline?
Yes. Yeah.
Let's I would feel like we got to start with Mystic Ave because just give me a second to pull up the time on this trade here. So 2:58 p.m. on Sunday, on Monday. No, that was Sunday. A couple hours after we recorded. You got your wish.
Yeah, I did. And he's been absolutely spectacular. And we also got Colin Blackwell.
Yeah.
For 2 seconds and a third. 50% retain on Geo.
That's not a bad deal.
That's a pretty good deal, I think. And he's been fantastic for us in the 2 games that he's played since. Like, he's been top tier.
Yeah. He was really good last night.
Yeah, like what do you know? You take a guy who is elite and you stick him on an elite team and he becomes elite again.
I mean, I wouldn't say Giordano's elite. I would say he's very good.
Let me put it to you this way. There is absolutely no chance that he's going to continue to play third pairing minutes. No way. No way. He looks real good. real good.
Yeah.
And he's enjoying every second of it. You can tell just the way he's playing. He was trigger happy last night, I'll tell you. He was clapping pucks on net through so much traffic. Like,
oh, he
got.
wanted his first Leafs goal to be against the Habs so bad.
Oh God. Yeah, he really did. He was that's the best way to describe him. He was trigger happy last night. But man, there was a couple times where he either missed on pass or he had a shot block and then the puck went the other way, and man, did that 38-year-old bust his ass getting back, eh? Like a couple times he got caught and he was just moving.
Yeah.
Like
I didn't know he could move like that.
No, like 38 years old, this guy. Unreal.
Well, even in his Calgary days, I didn't think he could move like that.
Oh, he was absolutely moving, that guy. It's awesome to see that it's and I understand that there will be nights where he looks 38 years old, but he's still a really good defenseman, like really good defenseman. And maybe he's not putting up his Norris numbers that he did in his Norris season, but goddamn, you
don't need him to, you know what I mean?
No, he's still a force. Like, he is an absolute force, and I think his numbers might go up a little bit playing with this team rather than Seattle. You know what I mean?
You know, even if his defensive numbers kind of stay in that Norris ballpark, like, so obviously the offense is, you know, going to go down, but his defensive numbers, like playing on a good team like that, like they'll be good.
Yeah, if he can get some goaltending too.
Oh yeah, well yeah, it's a big thing.
When Jack Campbell comes back and hopefully gets back to his Jack Campbell self. I don't know. I like it. And that we haven't even mentioned the addition of Colin Blackwell, who you and I both picked in the expansion, our mock expansion draft from the New York Rangers. So he's been great too. He took a penalty last night. Probably should have taken another penalty last night as well. Or no, he didn't end up taking that penalty. It was Hull. They originally said it was going to be Blackwell, but it was ended up being Hull. But anyway, he's a firebug, that guy. He just skates around the ice and hits everything that moves and back check, forecheck, and that's his game.
Great energy for a bottom six for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And
like for the price of 2 seconds and a third, fucking can't go wrong. Because even if Blackwell's not in that deal, if it's just Giordano for the 2 seconds and a third, like that's still a really good value deal. Now you're throwing Colin Blackwell in there too, like.
Yeah, I'm definitely happy with that move. I have no complaints.
Did the Leafs make any other moves at the deadline, or was that it?
There were a few, like, just for future considerations, AHL deals type stuff. Okay. I don't remember exactly who it was. I think Biega went to Nashville's AHL squad. I forget. I think there was a couple other ones. But yeah, the major one was obviously the Giordano Blackwell deal. And then the other one that we can lump in there is the Richie for Lyubushkin, because Lyubushkin fits in fantastically on that pairing with Riley. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think he had a good game last night. I haven't watched enough of him since the trade to really say, but I can say, like, for sure last night he played well. Yeah. And also Nick Ritchie's been lighting it up in Arizona. So I mean,
hey, it worked out for both teams. I don't really he wasn't gonna do anything here, so
yeah.
What are you gonna do, right? But so that was pretty much it. But I think I think you could definitely, there's no argument against Kyle Dubas improving the team. He improved the team, maybe not to the degree that some fans maybe wanted. And just talking about goaltending, some fans wanted a goaltending deal. I'm not one of them. But I think he did the best he could do to improve the team in the areas that he saw fit, right? He wanted a energy guy for the forward group, and he wanted Marc Giordano, and he got him, right? And considering the price that some other teams paid for defensemen, he got him for a steal, man. Like, Ben Sherratt cost like $1 zillion compared to that. Like, I
mean, Ben Sherratt's also been good since he's been in Florida. He's played a couple good games, so.
Yeah, no, but Marc Giordano's been fantastic in a Leafs uniform too. We paid 2 seconds and a third.
Yeah.
And I get it. Florida's first round pick isn't going to be a high one, but still, man, like, that's a lot for Ben Sherratt, and then not a lot for Marc Giordano. I don't know.
Well, you know what? You're saying Kyle Dubas had a good deadline. Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton had a fucking good deadline.
They did. They picked up a haul for sure.
So, and like the way I look at it is, if you had told me when they got brought in, like when Bergeron was fired, Gorton was brought in, Hughes was brought in a little after that, that like by the end of March, I'd be like a full 100% on board with Hughes and Gorton doing whatever the fuck they wanted, I would have been like, yeah, you're lying. That's bullshit. It's not going to happen. But like, I'm 110% sold on the project right now. Like 110%.
Well, I think the winning that you guys have been doing as of late probably helps with that as well, right?
Well, that does too. But like, I look at, so like, I'm just gonna, but before I break down all of the trades, I'm just gonna go give a quick deadline review. So since coming in, Toffoli, Sherratt, Lehkonen, Kulak, and Hammond gone. In return, 2 firsts, 1 in 22, 1 in 23, 2 seconds, 1 in 23, 1 in 24, a 4th, a 5th, a 7th, plus Justin Barron, Emil Heineman, Ty Smolanic, William Lagesson, and Nate Schnarr. Like, that's a fucking haul for those 5 guys. Like, that's a fucking lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
and like I said, though, like not all first-round picks are built the same.
No.
Like those are 2 Florida first-round picks, am I right?
No. A Calgary and a Florida. Toffoli and Sherratt.
So those are 2 really good teams.
Yeah. So I think the Calgary one is the 22. Florida's is next year, though. And Florida historically make the playoffs and then don't make the playoffs for another like 20 years. So
yeah, I don't think this group of Florida is gonna continue on that path.
I don't think so, but I would like it. But
like they're one of the Stanley Cup favorites. I don't think they're going to miss the playoffs next year.
But still, that's a lot of picks. It's a lot of prospects. I mean, if you asked any scouting department said, hey, do you want 3 picks in this draft or do you want 17? Like, they're gonna want more picks, right?
Yes.
So yeah, no, I think they had a really, really good deadline. So we'll start with the fucking absolute misery that is my boy Artturi Lehkonen getting traded. Like, just man, that
Pain.
one hurt. Pain. I'm really glad that he's going to a cup contender in Colorado, and I'm really hoping that he can go and win a cup with them because he absolutely deserves it. But considering we got Justin Barron, who was 20th or 25th overall in his draft year, and the 2024 second from Colorado is great because that'll be an early pick. Yeah, and so now with that, actually with Justin Barron, we have 2 of the top 5 defensemen from that draft year with Caden Gooley as well. So that looks really good. And Barron is supposed to be at least playing a little bit by the end of the season, so that's really good for us. Fucking sucks that Lecky's gone. Like, just brutal. Just fucking brutal. I am though really glad that he got that moment, that OT winner, because he's a guy that I think like Thomas Plekanec, like generations after me aren't gonna remember Thomas Plekanec at all. Like, he's just gonna be another guy. Because, no offense to him, he didn't have like a moment. You know what I mean? Like, there isn't one thing that like defines his time in Montreal. But like a guy like Lehkonen got that OT winner, probably the biggest moment in Bell Center's history. Like, at least he's gonna get that recognition like forever now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then fucking we traded Brett Kulak to Edmonton and somehow got a second in 2022, a 7th in 2024, and William Lagesson for Brett Kulak.
Yeah, who cost them a couple goals last night. I watched that game. It wasn't very good.
Oh man, they got pumped last night.
9-5.
Yeah. And
did you see the Edmonton Twitter post where they just posted like their like the thing that they always post with like the score on it, and like where the score normally is, it just said just Google it.
Yeah, they got the shit kicked out of them last night.
Yeah. Anyway,
a
lot
of that was on the goaltending too. They're not going anywhere without fucking goaltending.
Dude, it was like 9 goals on 29 shots.
I forget who started the game, but they let in 5 on 19.
Koskinen.
Yeah, they let in like 5 on like 17 shots or something like that.
Oh, it was absolutely terrible.
Anyways, like Brett Kulak's a good bottom pairing guy. He'll be fine for them. But the fact that we got 2 picks and a roster player for him is ridiculous. And then Andrew Hammond got traded to New Jersey for Nate Schnarr, who's probably just an AHL guy. But what I really liked about this deal was Kent Hughes' comments about it. Basically saying that we could have just buried Hammond in the AHL, whatever, with Price and Allen coming back being healthy, plus Montembeault. Like, we don't really have a spot for him. We could have just buried him in the AHL. But the few games he played for us, he went 3-0. He deserved a chance to continue playing in the NHL. So when New Jersey came calling, like, as much as it sucked losing him, he's only here for a couple of weeks, like, giving him that opportunity to continue playing in the NHL instead of just saying, like, now we'll keep him in the minors, whatever. Like, I really like that from Kent Hughes.
Yeah, no, players remember that stuff.
No,
100%. Right? And that word travels around the league. So.
Yeah. And even just on that quick, when we traded for Tyler Pitlick in the Toffoli deal, his wife was actually pregnant in Calgary. So we asked the Flames if he could stay and use all their facilities, like just until she gave birth, and it was good for him to come back. They obviously agreed to let him do that. So when we traded Sherratt to Florida, they were on a West Coast swing and were playing Montreal like 5 days later. They asked if he can just stay in Montreal, use our facilities, and we obviously agreed to let them do that. I think it's one of those things. It's just nice to see, like, not everyone in the league's a fucking asshole. Some,
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I was just about to mention that. Yeah, that's just a solid move.
Yeah, like, just all around, like, solid stuff.
Yeah,
I'm really liking that from that, and I don't think Bergevin would have said no to that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or other GMs really would have said no to that. Yeah. But it's just nice to see.
Yep. Okay, so do you want to go through some other larger deals from around the league?
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like the biggest one is probably Fleury to Minnesota.
Yeah, that's the number one.
For a first-round pick in this year's draft.
Yeah.
And then the other big one, I think we said, was Ricard Raquel, correct?
Ricard Raquel. Yes, that was a big one. And then there was... What was the other one? Didn't we have another one?
No. Well, and then Giordano and Lehkonen.
Oh, yes. That was the other one. Okay, never mind. We've already talked about that one.
I just got to find this Raquel trade in here quick. Anyways, if you want to start... here it is. So Raquel to the Penguins for a 2022 second, Zach Aston Reese, Dominic Simon, and Kale Klang.
Okay, so that's a big pickup for Pittsburgh. Ricard Raquel's a fantastic hockey player, and Pittsburgh, that I think that pushes them into contender status, that trade.
I have a hard time saying contender status, especially coming out of the East with Tampa and Florida and Boston. Yeah, but they got to get Toronto
through the Metro. That's a little different.
Yeah, but
that's a little bit different. They just got to, they got to knock off Carolina or or the Rangers. Like, that's what it's looking like. It's looking like Carolina. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's Carolina, Rangers, Pittsburgh, and then
probably Washington
in the wild card, right? I believe that is correct. And then it's
2 seconds here.
We have the 4 from the Atlantic, obviously. It's Tampa, Florida, Toronto, and Boston. And that's going to flip-flop wild card to 3rd seed and 2nd seed even. That's a tight race there between the Leafs, Tampa, and Boston.
So in the Metro, it's Carolina, Pittsburgh, the Rangers, and then the Capitals.
Yeah.
And that's pretty comfortable that's what it's going to be. The Caps have 64 points. The 5th place Blue Jackets have 69. So
84, though, right?
What did I say?
64.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry. Okay. No. Yeah, the Capitals have 84 points. The Blue Jackets have 69 points. So that, unless, again, someone goes Montreal from October to December, then...
like that's what it'll take.
Yeah.
To drop out of a playoff position at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
But anyway, the East is pretty much decided. It's pretty much just placing that's kind of out now.
Yeah.
Anyway, going back to the Raquel trade, I love that for them. I think that especially with the Malkin coming back and the way he's played since he has come back, Sidney Crosby is on a tear.
Is there any term on Raquel or is he UFA?
I believe he's a UFA, but I could be wrong. That's what we have cap friendly for.
Yay.
Ricard Raquel, Swedish national, is only signed until the end of this season.
Okay. But I mean, a second round pick and some like fucking like fourth line roster players for him is like not a terrible deal.
Yeah, and it was a last second make sure we get this trade in on time kind of trade. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
did you hear about the Domi trade to Carolina?
Yeah, wasn't it submitted at like 2:59?
2:59, and like so it was like 60 seconds before. Now, obviously, the trade calls and that stuff like go later, but the actual paperwork was submitted and rubber stamped at 2:59.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I think those are the biggest trades. I would definitely say the Raquel Pittsburgh got a hell of a deal there.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think that makes them definitely more of a contender than they were, and they were already.
I mean, like anytime you've got Crosby and Malkin on a team, like there's a chance.
Yeah, and you give them some goaltending, which Jari is giving them currently. Yeah. Scary stuff.
So Fleury, a first round pick in this year's draft for Marc-Andre Fleury. How do you feel about it?
I think that's probably something that Minnesota felt that they needed to do.
Who are their goalies anyways, besides Fleury?
Well, they traded out the one guy. I think he used to play in Edmonton. I could be wrong about that, but the other one is Cam Talbot. They shipped the other guy to San Jose. I forget what his name is.
Yeah, anyway. I mean, if we can't think of their goalies, then yeah, they probably needed to pick up a goalie.
Well, it was Cam Talbot, and now I gotta find out. Come on, man. San Jose. So, San Jose goaltenders. Okay, he's not on this list. So that's how good he is. He's not on this list.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so the Wild are second in the Central, behind only Colorado. So I definitely feel like Fleury is an upgrade for them for sure.
Yes.
Is he enough of an upgrade to contend in the West? I don't know.
A lot of people have Minnesota as a sleeper.
Like I struggle, especially with the Flames, the Avalanche, and I know the Preds aren't in the best spot in that division right now. They're fourth, and it's pretty tight. But like, we've seen them just turn it on this year. Yeah,
that's what they can do. They have the offense for it.
Yo, Roman Josi is on fucking pace for 100 and some points.
Yeah, that's a little outrageous for a defenseman, eh?
Like, I know earlier in the year we talked about him like being underrated. Like, that is completely bullshit now. Like, because if you do not rate Roman Josi at this point, like, yeah, you just don't know hockey.
Yeah, no, for sure. I would agree with that. This just in 58 minutes ago. If you want to maybe touch on this a little bit, the Senators have signed Jake Sanderson to a 3-year ELC.
Good pickup.
Well, they drafted him like ahead of Cale Makar, did they not?
I couldn't tell you.
No, I think that's the wrong one. I think that's the wrong draft. But I know that he was drafted very, very high. 2020 NHL entry draft. Give me 1 second here.
Who did they? I know they passed on some good guys to pick him up. Because I remember there being a bit of outrage when he got drafted.
They passed on Jamie Drysdale. That was the big one that they passed on. Seth Jarvis, who's already
Anaheim this year.
Pardon?
Drysdale's been playing pretty solid in Anaheim this year. Nothing like special, but like good.
Very solid from what I understand. Okay, maybe it wasn't as big of an oversight as I thought it was.
Yeah, he just got the wrong year there. It's no biggie.
But because they that's right. They picked Stützle and then Sanderson.
Yeah.
And they could have had instead of Stützle, Lucas Raymond, and instead of Sanderson, Jamie Drysdale. That's what it was.
I mean, the Stützle-Raymond one is
Flip-flop.
Yeah, like they definitely didn't get a bad player in Tim Stützle. You know what I mean?
No. I think I would agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think there's a wrong choice there. I think between Sanderson and Drysdale, I think Drysdale was more of the right choice. But I'm also not going to, discount a kid who's not played a game in the NHL yet.
Yeah. 18th overall, the New Jersey Devils selected Dawson Mercer, who is having a year.
Yeah, he is.
Dawson Mercer is having a fantastic season.
Did I not just see that he put up like his 20th goal of the year? It was a milestone goal for him the other night.
Yeah, Dawson Mercer has this year in 65 games played, he's got 37 points, 16 goals, 21 assists.
All right, so it's his 15th goal of the year. That was the milestone. But still, like that's a really, really good rookie year.
For a guy who was taken 18th overall, yeah, that's something that you like to see if you're New Jersey, especially with the young talent they have surrounding them right now with Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier and all those guys. Anyway.
Oh, I just want to stick on New Jersey for a second. Because PK Subban's name was kind of being thrown around at the deadline. And I love that the Devils straight up said, like, yeah, we are not re-signing him next year. Like, straight up. Like, that's...
Yeah. So that kind of all came off of the Raquel trade there that we were talking about. So that's kind of
no. We were talking about Fleury.
So yeah. Are they a contender? I would say yes. Yeah, I would say yes. And the reason why, nobody talks about this. Colorado has been just as bad as they made the second round once, and they've been good for how long?
Like, true.
Like, everybody stays on the Leafs, but
the big thing is the Colorado Avalanche can at least win a playoff series. That's like the big thing, right? Like, if the Leafs are going out in the second round every year, they'd be getting less shit. But it's because they're not winning a single playoff round. That's kind of the issue.
Yeah, well, let's see what Chicago does or Colorado does this year, because they might have it in tough against a team like Minnesota if that's who they end up playing. Is Minnesota sitting in second place in that division, you said?
Minnesota is second in that division, definitely.
Okay, so as of right now, who's behind them and by how much?
So the Avalanche have 97 points, and first, the Wild have 82 points in second. Third is St. Louis on 79 points, so only 3 points behind, but they also have played an extra game. And then the Predators have played 2 more games and are on 78 points.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'd be interested to see. I think if they don't win this year, Colorado's bust. Like,
I don't want to say bust, but
like their
big issues
really built up a team here, man.
The big issue for them is still goaltending. They still, I don't think, have
that guy
legit number one yet. Like, yeah, because like even Grubauer last year was a okay goalie playing in front of a good team, or playing behind a good team. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyways, let's go. So the Lehkonen trade. So Lehkonen to Colorado for Justin Barron and a second. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think that's probably what both teams needed, right? Like, I think both teams won in that trade.
Yeah. Because I had said the price for Lehkonen was a first plus. But getting Justin Barron, who was a former first rounder, I would say that's about equivalent. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yep.
And then Giordano, we both agree, was a steal for Kyle Dubas.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's the Sioux connection, but Ron Francis got fleeced.
So just one more thing on the trade deadline. Yevgeny Dadonov. What the fuck?
Yeah, the NHL is a joke.
Well, I don't even think the NHL is a joke in this one. I think the Ottawa Senators are a joke, and I think the Vegas Golden Knights are a joke.
Yeah, if
And some NHL policy is a bit of a joke.
like people needed a reason to hate Vegas more, eh?
Honestly. So,
Like, go be bad.
talk us through it, Dave.
Okay, so Yevgeny Dadonov, it gets announced like right at the end of the trade deadline there. But Yevgeny Dadonov has been traded to the Anaheim Ducks for I think it was more of a salary dump.
It was a straight up salary dump. I think it was picks going back the other way.
Yeah. So then the Vegas Golden Knights tweet later that night that they have been informed that there is an issue with the Evgeny Dadonov trade. It turns out that Evgeny Dadonov has a no trade clause. Like a limited no trade clause. I think it was a 10-team list.
Yep.
One of those teams was the Anaheim Ducks. And he did not want to waive and go play for the Anaheim Ducks.
I don't blame him.
No, honestly, go to Anaheim, go to LA.
The whole reason is because of the taxes in California. That's why he didn't want to go. So I don't blame him.
That's hilarious.
Straight up. Like, I was actually reading that most like 10-team lists are like the 7 Canadian teams and then like some like West Coast teams because of taxes. You make less money. I mean, like, I get it.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But anyway. So the NHL looks into it, and it turns out what happened was when Ottawa traded Dadonov to Vegas, he submitted his list on time, but for some reason that was not relayed to the Vegas Golden Knights. So they were unaware that he had a no trade with, like, they thought that the no trade had been void, from what I understand, right?
Well, either it was void or he just didn't have one.
Yeah. So the trade gets reversed, and Evgeny Dadonov has been an absolute star for the Vegas Golden Knights since.
Yeah, he's put up like 8 points in 3 games since.
Yeah, and overtime winners and just beauty goals and
But like, I don't understand how until now there was no like policy for like tracking that. You know what I mean?
There isn't still.
You know, but like, I mean, some of the insiders have said the NHL is going to change that, and starting like with next season, there's going to be like a trap. Like, how is that not a thing?
I have no idea. It's outrageous. It's absolutely crazy that there is like just cap friendly. Like, just literally
like, honestly,
give cap friendly $100K a year, and now they're the official database.
But like, not even just that, but like did some intern who worked at for the Vegas Golden Knights didn't like look on cap friendly and be like, hey guys, like, I think this might be an issue. Like, nobody saw that.
Yeah, no, it's like, kind of ridiculous when you think about it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, people are saying, oh, like, it's not Ottawa's fault. I'm like it's not, but at the same time, like, you traded a guy and didn't tell the other team that he has like a modified no trade list, or like a 10-team, like that's kind of shitty. But also,
that's
Vegas,
hilarious.
Like,
that's so
Vegas,
funny. That's such a Eugene Melnyk and Pierre Dorian thing to do. Like, oh my god, it's so funny.
But again, then like on Vegas's end, like, you traded for a guy and didn't find out, and he played for them for like 2 years.
Do your due diligence at least, man.
Honestly,
like, no.
Like, and then for Anaheim to like trade for him and also not do your due diligence. Like, how does his agent not get like informed that like there's a trade coming and be like, hey, like, just a reminder, we got a list.
Yeah, like just to clarify.
Like there's no way a trade happens in the NHL without an agent at least like getting like a snippet of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I guess that whole situation's a joke.
Yeah, it's embarrassing for the NHL that it happened, but hopefully we can all just forget about it and get over it.
No, let's just keep roasting the Vegas Golden Knights for it, because fuck them.
And the Ottawa Senators.
And the Ottawa Senators.
And the NHL.
Can we call this database the Dadonov database? And we just load
database. Standing O.
Excellent, Dave. But yeah, like, like it's just ridiculous that that's not a thing. That like people like me and you are more informed of players' fucking no move clauses than fucking the people who run teams.
Well, like, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not like I can tell you like that. I knew that again, like when that trade happened, I was like, doesn't that guy have a no trade? But I easily could have looked it up.
No, but like that's what I mean.
But no, but like very easily. If I was like as a GM, that would be honestly my best resource. I'd be like, when I'm looking at a guy, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go look at his cap friendly.
No, but that's what I mean. Like when the Leafs get linked to a player or the Habs get linked to a player, the first thing I do is I look at cat friendly.
And yeah, absolutely.
And like
absolutely.
if I see the Habs or if I see the Habs on a no trade list, I'm like, oh, like, you know, I guess it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like 2 seconds. 2 seconds that takes.
Yeah, wild. Wild. Anyway.
So what do the Leafs have lined up for this week?
So this week, tonight, actually, we begin with a showdown against one of the best teams in the National Hockey League. I think we can all agree, the Florida Panthers.
Yep.
And do know that we have a very, very packed schedule coming up. So, yes, it is obviously last night and then back-to-back, the second half of the back-to-back tonight against the Panthers. Then we move on in Boston on Tuesday, the 29th. And on March 31st, we host the Winnipeg Jets. And then one more before we record again. It is on Saturday night in Philadelphia.
Ooh, yeah, that is a fucking loaded week for you.
Yep.
So actually, the Habs have the Devils tonight. The Panthers again on... Man, we played the Panthers so much before the end of the season. It's not even funny. We got them on Tuesday. Got the Hurricane on Thursday. And then the Lightning on Saturday. So...
yeah. We have the Panthers 3 times, too.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what happened in the scheduling department, but, like, we literally... our first time we played them was that the New Year's Day game. And then, like, it's just been... We've played them... It feels like we've played them, like, every other week since then.
Yeah. I just noticed on Saturday, April the 9th, Habs Leafs again. You're going to have to come over for that one.
Yeah, if you're not COVID positive still.
Yeah, I think I'll be fine by the 9th.
I hope so.
I'm hoping to go back to work on Wednesday.
I guess. Nah, we'll see.
I was told if I'm symptom-free by today, then I can go back to work. I still have a little bit of sniffle, but I don't think that counts. Definitely.
Well, I don't know. You coughed up a storm earlier in the fucking podcast when we were off air too, so...
I'm fine.
Yeah. Anything else we need to talk about this week, Abe?
To be honest with you, I think I have everything off of my chest. Obviously, I'm hoping for a big game tonight against Florida. In true Leafs fashion, they're definitely going to win after losing to the worst team in the league. That's just how we roll. But one more thing I do have to mention. Canada's men's national team will qualify for the World Cup today.
Hopefully by the time people are watching and listening to this, we are qualified for the World Cup.
Wait, when's the game?
It's a 4:00 kickoff, I think.
Yeah!
Yeah.
That's so exciting. I have something to do all day now.
I know.
Because I got this golf on now, the match play. Canadian Corey Connors in the Final Four. Love to see it. Anyway.
Big game at BMO Field.
Yeah, huge game at BMO Field. Lots of Canadians in the sporting world. Like I said, Corey Connors, the Canadian men's national team. Love to see it. Also, Blue Jays starting up.
Hey, let's go.
They look scary. A lot of people are picking them as favorites out of the AL East, which is an absolutely stacked division.
Well, man, did you hear Vladdy Sr.'s comments? No. He goes, okay, last year was the trailer, this year's the movie.
That was Vladdy Jr., bud.
I thought that was Vladdy Sr.
No, that was Vladdy Jr.
I mean, either way, like...
Yeah, Vlad, I'm jacked. I'm absolutely jacked. We've kind of gone... Go.
Are we going to a fucking Blue Jays game this summer? Like, I'll hit up.
Honestly, like this summer, my plan is, because I know that like obviously there's no hockey in the summer, but I plan on like getting down like every time that I have like, let's say a Friday and a Saturday off this summer, I'm going to try to get out of town. I'm not going to stay here because I have Sundays off too. So anyway,
I think that is everything then.
Yeah, I think that is everything. We kind of went a little over the scheduled time limit this week, but that's okay. Always lots to talk about. That's what it is. That's the only issue here.
I can get creative with editing too. Save us a couple minutes.
Yeah, that's fair. As always, thank you to the Game Sports and Entertainment, Game Entertainment and Media. Very, very grateful for hosting us on your platform, and we thank you obviously for our relationship. And thank you to our fans for listening again this week. We'll talk to you next week.